Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly manifest the life they desire, while others struggle against constant resistance? The difference isn't luck or privilege, it's knowledge. Ancient knowledge that has been carefully guarded through the centuries, passed down through select circles and societies. Knowledge that, once understood and applied, can transform your relationship with reality itself. Throughout history, there have been individuals who understood the invisible mechanisms that govern our world. From the ancient Egyptian mystery schools to the Greek philosophers, from Eastern mystics to Western esoteric traditions, they all converged on fundamental truths about the nature of consciousness and its relationship to the material world. These principles weren't just philosophical concepts, but practical tools for navigating and shaping reality. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 profound ancient secrets that have been hidden in plain sight, principles that have been the foundation of power for those who've shaped history. These aren't mystical fantasies or New Age wishful thinking. They're verifiable, universal laws that modern quantum physics and neuroscience are only now beginning to scientifically validate. What makes these principles so powerful is their simplicity and consistency. They operate whether you're consciously aware of them or not. But when you understand and intentionally apply them, you unlock capabilities that might seem almost supernatural to those who remain unaware. By the end of this video, you'll understand how your thoughts create your reality, how to harness vibrational frequencies to attract what you desire, and how to become a conscious cause rather than a reactive effect in your life. More importantly, you'll have practical techniques to implement these principles immediately. This isn't about magical thinking, it's about understanding the operating system of reality and learning to work with it rather than against it. So let's begin this journey into the ancient knowledge that can truly elevate your mind power. The first ancient secret: the principle of mentalism. The first and perhaps most fundamental principle we need to understand comes from Hermetic philosophy, which dates back to ancient Egypt and was later preserved in various mystery schools and secret societies. This principle states, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This might sound abstract, but its implications are profound. At its core, this principle suggests that consciousness is the foundation of all reality. Everything you perceive in the physical world is ultimately mental in nature. The material world is not separate from consciousness, but is an expression of it. Modern quantum physics has begun to validate this ancient understanding. The famous double-slit experiment demonstrated that particles exist as waves of probability until they're observed, suggesting that consciousness itself plays a role in the manifestation of physical reality. As the renowned physicist Max Planck stated, "Mind is the matrix of all matter." But how is this relevant to your life? The principle of mentalism tells us that our thoughts are not just passive observations, but creative forces. Every thought you hold consistently begins to shape your experience of reality. This isn't metaphorical, it's literal. Your mind is constantly engaged in an invisible process of reality creation. Ancient traditions understood this. In the Dhammapada, Buddha proclaimed, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." In Proverbs we find, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." These weren't just poetic expressions, but practical observations about the nature of mind and reality. The elite have understood and applied this principle throughout history. Whether in Freemasonry, Hermeticism, or other traditions, they recognized that mastery of mind leads to mastery of life. They knew that those who remain unaware of this principle become unconscious creators of their reality, while those who understand it become deliberate architects of their experience. So how can you harness this first ancient secret? Here's a 5-step process that mirrors what initiates have practiced for centuries. First, cultivate clear intention. Define precisely what you want to create in your life. Vague wishes produce vague results. The clearer and more specific your mental image, the more powerful its creative potential. Second, mentally engage with the reality of your intention as if it already exists. This isn't pretending or wishful thinking, it's understanding that in the mental realm, your desired reality already exists as a pattern of potential. Your job is to align with that pattern. Third, embody your intention fully. Think, speak, and act as if what you desire is already your reality. This creates coherence between your conscious intentions and your subconscious patterns, which is essential for manifestation. Fourth, take inspired action. Notice the difference between forced effort and inspired action. Inspired action flows naturally from your alignment with your intention. It doesn't feel like struggle, but like following an inner guidance. Finally, surrender to the process. Trust that the universal mind, which operates through natural law, is orchestrating the perfect unfolding of your intention. Your role is alignment, not control. This approach to reality creation isn't about dominating or manipulating the world around you. It's about coming into harmony with the creative principle that underlies all existence. When you understand that reality is fundamentally mental, you stop seeing yourself as a powerless observer and recognize your role as a conscious creator. Remember, this principle operates whether you're aware of it or not. Every persistent thought and belief is shaping your experience in some way. The only question is whether you're creating consciously or unconsciously. As Manly P. Hall, one of the most influential Freemason philosophers of the 20th century, stated, "Man's status in the natural world is determined by the quality of his thinking." This isn't mystical rhetoric, it's a practical observation about how consciousness interfaces with reality. The principle of mentalism reveals that your mind is not contained within your brain. It extends into and influences the field of consciousness that underlies all physical reality. When you hold a thought consistently, you're not just entertaining an idea, you're broadcasting a signal into this field, which then organizes experiences that match your mental state. This is why the elite have always understood that the control of consciousness is the ultimate form of power. When you can influence what people believe is possible, you can control what they create. But the liberation in this understanding is that no one can control your consciousness without your consent. Your mind remains sovereign. The question is whether you'll claim that sovereignty. The second ancient secret, the principle of vibration. The second ancient secret builds upon the first. If all is mind, how does mind express itself in the diversity of forms we experience? The answer lies in vibration. The Hermetic principle states, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Again, modern science has validated what ancient wisdom has always known, that at the subatomic level, everything is in constant motion, vibrating at different frequencies. From quantum fields to the atoms in your body, from your thoughts to your emotions, everything exists as patterns of vibration. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's the literal structure of reality. Different vibrations manifest as different forms and experiences. Your thoughts and emotions aren't just subjective experiences, they're vibrational states that interact with the field of consciousness. This understanding forms the basis of many ancient practices, from mantras to meditation to ritual. These weren't superstitious behaviors, but practical techniques for working with vibrational reality. Those initiated into higher degrees of esoteric knowledge have always understood this principle. They recognize that words, sounds, symbols, and emotional states aren't just expressions, they're vibrational tools that can be used to influence reality. This is why specific words, sounds, and symbols feature prominently in Masonic rituals and other esoteric practices. The principle of vibration tells us that everything we experience is attracted through resonance. Like attracts like, not because of some mystical law, but because of the fundamental nature of vibrational reality. This is why your predominant emotional state becomes a magnetic force, attracting experiences that match its frequency. So how can you apply this second ancient secret in practical ways? Here's a 4-step process. First, develop vibrational awareness. Begin paying attention to how you feel throughout the day. Your emotions are indicators of your vibrational state. When you feel negative emotions, anger, fear, frustration, resentment, recognize that you're emitting a vibration that will attract matching experiences. Second, practice intentional vibrational shifting. When you notice yourself in a low vibrational state, consciously shift to a higher frequency. Focus on something that naturally elevates your emotional state. Gratitude, appreciation, love, joy. These aren't just pleasant feelings, they're powerful vibrational frequencies that reorganize your reality. Third, create vibrational momentum. Consistently cultivate high vibration states until they become your default. This isn't about denying negative emotions, but about consciously choosing not to dwell in them. The more consistently you maintain elevated emotional states, the more momentum you build in attracting matching experiences. Fourth, establish vibrational anchors. Just as esoteric traditions use symbols and rituals as vibrational tools, create your own anchors. This could be a physical object, a word, a gesture, or an image that you intentionally charge with the energy of your desired state. When you encounter challenges, use these anchors to quickly realign your vibration. Understanding the principle of vibration transforms how you approach manifestation. It's not enough to think about what you want. You must become a vibrational match for it. When your thoughts, feelings, and actions are in vibrational alignment with your desires, you naturally attract corresponding experiences. As Manly Hall explained, man is thus surrounded by a supersensible universe of which he knows nothing, because the centers of sense perception within himself have not been developed sufficiently to respond to the subtler rates of vibration of which that universe is composed. This speaks to the unseen potential that surrounds us at all times, realities that remain inaccessible until we shift our vibrational state to match them. The elite have always known that emotional states aren't just private experiences, but vibrational broadcasts that influence collective reality. This is why controlling the emotional climate of society has been a consistent strategy of power. Fear, division, and scarcity consciousness keep populations vibrating at frequencies that make them easier to influence. But when you understand the principle of vibration, you reclaim your vibrational sovereignty. You recognize that no external circumstance can control your frequency without your consent. You can choose your vibrational state regardless of external conditions, and in doing so, you become a conscious creator rather than a reactive effect. The third ancient secret, the principle of cause and effect. The third ancient secret builds upon the previous two and reveals how they operate in the manifestation of experience. This is the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. This principle has been expressed in various ways throughout history. As you sow, so shall you reap. Karma, the law of correspondence. Different traditions use different language, but they all point to the same fundamental truth, that the universe operates through perfect causation, not random chance. The initiated elite have always understood that apparent coincidences are actually the result of unseen causes. They recognize that by manipulating cause, they could predictably create specific effects. This understanding allowed them to orchestrate outcomes that appeared miraculous to those unaware of the principle. The Kabbalion, a Hermetic text, explains it clearly. The masses of people are carried along, obedient to their environment. The wills and desires of others stronger than themselves, heredity, suggestion, and other outward causes moving them about like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters, rising to the plane above, dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. This perspective isn't about dominating others. It's about moving from unconscious reaction to conscious creation. It's about recognizing that you can be either an effect of circumstances or a cause of new conditions. The principle of cause and effect integrates perfectly with the previous principles. Your thoughts and beliefs, mentalism, generate vibrational frequencies, vibration, that set in motion chains of causation, cause and effect, leading to corresponding experiences. How do you harness this third ancient secret? Here's how to apply it practically. First, recognize that you're always planting seeds. Every thought, feeling, word, and action is a cause that will produce an effect. This isn't metaphorical. It's how reality functions. Become consciously aware of the seeds you're planting moment by moment. Second, align your causal actions. Ensure that your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions are in alignment with what you want to create. Contradictory causes produce confused effects. If you're thinking lack while affirming abundance, you're planting mixed seeds that will yield mixed results. Third, maintain consistent causation. Persistence is essential. A single seed rarely produces a harvest. It's the consistent planting of the same type of seed that yields abundant results. Stay focused on your intended outcome despite apparent delays or contradictory evidence. Fourth, expect the effect. Expectation is a powerful causal force. When you plant physical seeds, you don't dig them up every day to check their progress. You trust the process. Similarly, trust that your mental seeds are growing even when you can't yet see the results. Finally, recognize and uproot contrary seeds. When thoughts or feelings arise that contradict your intended creation, consciously replace them. Don't fight or resist them. Simply recognize them as old patterns and choose new ones. The principle of cause and effect shows us that creation isn't about forcing outcomes, but about aligning with natural law. Just as a farmer doesn't force plants to grow, but creates the conditions for natural growth, you don't force reality to conform to your wishes, but align yourself with the conditions that naturally produce your desired experiences. This understanding liberates you from the victim mentality that keeps so many trapped in cycles of reaction. When you recognize yourself as a causal force rather than an effect of circumstances, you reclaim your power to create change. As Manly Hall explained, the purpose of life is the gradual growth of the soul through the experiences which it gains in its physical environment. By properly understanding each experience and by extracting from it the lesson it contains, the individual finally attains to a mastery of circumstances and dominion over all conditions. The elite have long applied this principle to orchestrate outcomes across generations. They understand that patient, consistent causation eventually produces the desired effect, regardless of apparent resistance. They plant seeds today for harvests they may not personally witness, understanding the inevitable operation of cause and effect. But this same principle is available to anyone who grasps it. You don't need special status or secret knowledge. You only need to align your consciousness with how reality actually functions. The interconnected web, how these principles work together. These three ancient secrets, mentalism, vibration, and cause and effect, don't operate in isolation. They form an interconnected system that explains how consciousness interfaces with reality. The principle of mentalism establishes that reality is fundamentally mental in nature. Your consciousness isn't just perceiving reality, it's participating in its creation. This is the foundation. The principle of vibration explains the mechanism of this creation. Consciousness expresses itself through vibrational frequencies that attract resonant experiences. Your thoughts and emotions aren't just subjective experiences, but vibrational broadcasts that influence the field of potential. The principle of cause and effect describes the process through which these vibrations manifest as experience. Every vibrational broadcast sets in motion chains of causation that inevitably produce corresponding effects. Nothing is random or accidental. Together, these principles reveal that you're always creating your reality. The only question is whether you're doing so consciously or unconsciously. Most people create by default, reacting to circumstances and perpetuating familiar patterns. But when you understand these principles, you can create by design, consciously choosing the causes that will produce your desired effects. This understanding doesn't mean that external reality doesn't exist, or that everything is merely subjective perception. It means that consciousness and physical reality are different expressions of the same underlying field. They exist in a dynamic relationship, constantly influencing each other. As quantum physicist John Wheeler proposed with his participatory universe concept, the observer is as essential to the creation of the universe as the universe is to the creation of the observer. This modern scientific insight echoes what ancient traditions have always known, that consciousness and reality exist in an inseparable dance of co-creation. The practical implication is that you're neither a passive observer of a fixed reality nor the sole creator of a purely subjective experience. You're a participant in a dynamic process of reality creation that involves both individual and collective consciousness interacting with the field of potential. This brings us to another profound insight from ancient wisdom, that these principles operate collectively as well as individually. Your individual consciousness doesn't exist in isolation, but as part of a broader field. This is why collective focus can accelerate manifestation, and why genuine communities centered around elevated consciousness can create powerful change. The elite have always understood this, which is why they create societies and organizations that focus collective consciousness towards specific outcomes. They recognize that aligned group intention magnifies creative power. But this same principle is available to any group that grasps and applies it consciously. Beyond the three, the complete Hermetic system. While we've focused on three core principles, the Hermetic tradition identifies 7 in total. The remaining 4, correspondence, polarity, rhythm, and gender, complete the system and offer additional insights into the nature of reality. The principle of correspondence, as above so below, as below so above, reveals that patterns repeat across different scales of reality. The microcosm reflects the macrocosm. Understanding this allows you to recognize universal patterns in your personal experience and work with them consciously. The principle of polarity, everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites, shows that apparent contradictions are actually different expressions of the same phenomenon. Hot and cold are different degrees of temperature. Love and hate are different intensities of the same emotional energy. This understanding helps you transcend either-or thinking and access the unity beyond apparent opposition. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows, out and in, everything has its tides, all things rise and fall, acknowledges that all of existence moves in cycles. Understanding these natural rhythms allows you to work with them rather than against them, recognizing when to advance and when to retreat, when to act and when to rest. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles, identifies the creative interplay of different energetic qualities. This isn't about biological sex, but about complementary forces that exist in all things, the active and receptive, the expressive and reflective, the yang and yin. Balancing these forces within yourself creates wholeness and enhanced creative power. These additional principles enrich and contextualize the three we've explored in depth. Together, they form a comprehensive system for understanding the interface between consciousness and reality. Practical application. Daily practices for mind power. Understanding these principles intellectually is only the beginning. True transformation comes through consistent application. Here are daily practices that will help you integrate these ancient secrets into your life. Begin each day with intentional alignment. Before engaging with the external world, take time to align your consciousness with what you intend to create. Visualize your desired reality as already existing. Feel the emotions associated with its fulfillment and affirm your alignment with it. Practice consistent vibrational management. Throughout the day, monitor your emotional state and consciously shift when necessary. When negative emotions arise, don't suppress them. Acknowledge them, extract their message, and then deliberately choose a higher vibrational state. Implement causal discipline. Become aware of the seeds you're planting through your thoughts, words, and actions. When you catch yourself engaging in patterns that contradict your intentions, consciously redirect your focus to what you want to create. Create sacred spaces. The ancients understood the power of dedicated spaces for consciousness work. Create areas in your home that support elevated awareness. These don't need to be elaborate. Even a small altar or meditation corner can serve as a vibrational anchor. Engage in regular meditation. This isn't just for relaxation, but for developing conscious control of your mental states. Even 10 to 15 minutes daily will strengthen your ability to direct your consciousness rather than being directed by external stimuli. Practice coherence between thought, feeling, word, and action. When these 4 elements align, your creative power magnifies. Ensure that what you think, feel, say, and do are in harmony with your intentions. Cultivate mindful awareness of synchronicities. When you begin working with these principles, meaningful coincidences increase. These aren't random events, but feedback from the field, showing you that your consciousness is influencing reality. Acknowledge them as confirmation of your creative power. Engage in conscious community. Find others who understand these principles and create together. Aligned group intention amplifies manifestation potential. This doesn't require formal organizations. Even small groups of like-minded individuals can create powerful field effects. These practices aren't complicated, but they require consistency. The ancient initiates understood that mastery comes through disciplined application, not just intellectual understanding. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll experience a gradual but profound shift in how reality responds to your consciousness. Beyond manifestation, the deeper purpose. While these principles can certainly be applied to manifest specific desires, wealth, relationships, opportunities, their deeper purpose goes beyond material acquisition. The ancient traditions didn't preserve this knowledge merely for worldly success, but for spiritual evolution. The ultimate goal of understanding these principles is not to accumulate possessions or experiences, but to realize your true nature as a conscious creator and your inseparability from the whole. Material manifestation is valid, but it's also the kindergarten of consciousness work, a starting point rather than the destination. As you deepen your practice, you'll likely find your focus shifting from what you can get to what you can give, from personal acquisition to creative contribution. This isn't about denying material abundance. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment comes from expressing your unique creative potential in service to something larger than yourself. The ancient mystery schools understood that consciousness evolution follows a natural progression, from seeking security to seeking success to seeking meaning to seeking unity. Each stage builds upon the previous one rather than negating it. Material abundance remains valid, but it becomes a means rather than an end. This perspective aligns with the most profound insights from both Eastern and Western wisdom traditions. As Jesus stated, "Seek first the kingdom, and all these things shall be added unto you." As Buddha taught, attachment to outcomes creates suffering, while aligned action without attachment creates liberation. The secret societies and mystery traditions weren't ultimately about gaining power over others, but about mastering yourself, about becoming a conscious participant in creation, rather than an unconscious reactor to circumstances. Their symbols and rituals weren't ends in themselves, but tools for shifting consciousness from separation to unity. As Manly Hall expressed it, the end of all knowledge should be service to others. This echoes the understanding that the highest use of these principles is not personal gain, but collective elevation. Not hoarding power, but distributing it through teaching and example. The invitation, from knowledge to practice. As we conclude this exploration of ancient mind power secrets, I want to emphasize that this knowledge isn't theoretical, it's practical. These principles are operating in your life right now, whether you're conscious of them or not. The only question is whether you'll work with them deliberately or be moved by them unconsciously. The elite have understood and applied these principles for centuries, using them to shape collective reality. But this knowledge was never meant to be exclusive. It belongs to humanity as a whole. The secrecy that once surrounded it wasn't about hoarding power, but about preserving it from corruption and ensuring it reached those prepared to use it responsibly. Today, as consciousness evolves globally, this knowledge is becoming more widely available. Not because the elite have suddenly become generous, but because human consciousness is ready for greater responsibility. The information age has made secrecy increasingly difficult, and the collective field is ripe for transformation. Your engagement with these principles isn't just about improving your personal life, it's about participating in a broader shift in how humanity interfaces with reality. As more individuals awaken to their creative power, the collective field begins to transform. This is why personal practice is also planetary service. I invite you to move beyond passive consumption of this information to active implementation. Start with small experiments. Apply these principles to specific areas of your life and observe the results. Don't take my word for it. Verify through your own experience. True knowledge isn't about belief, but about direct perception. If you're new to these concepts, begin with basic practices: daily meditation, vibrational awareness, intentional creation. If you're already familiar with them, deepen your practice through greater consistency and expanded application. Wherever you are on the journey, the next step is always implementation. Remember that mastery doesn't come overnight. The ancient initiates understood that transformation is a process, not an event. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories and persist through challenges. Each step builds momentum toward greater consciousness and creative power. In the words of the Hermetic tradition, where the attention goes, energy flows. Your consistent focus on these principles will gradually transform your relationship with reality. Not through force or manipulation, but through alignment with how things actually work. The knowledge is now in your hands. What you do with it is your choice. Will you continue to create unconsciously, perpetuating familiar patterns? Or will you step into conscious creation, aligning your mind with the principles that govern reality? The power has always been within you. The ancient secrets merely remind you of what you've temporarily forgotten. That you are not a passive observer of reality, but an active participant in its creation. Your mind is not confined to your skull, but extends into and influences the field of potential from which all experience emerges. As you integrate these principles into your daily life, you'll experience a gradual but unmistakable shift. Reality will begin to respond differently to your consciousness. Synchronicities will increase, manifestation will accelerate, and your sense of limitation will diminish. Not because the universe has changed, but because you've aligned with how it actually functions. This is the true promise of ancient mind power. Not supernatural abilities or material excess, but the natural expression of your creative potential through alignment with universal law. It's about becoming who you truly are and contributing your unique gifts to the unfolding of consciousness. The journey begins with a simple decision: to take responsibility for your creative power and use it consciously. From that decision flows everything else. The principles are waiting for your engagement. The field is responsive to your consciousness. The potential is limitless. What will you create? Thank you for joining me on this exploration of ancient mind power secrets. If you found value in this video, please share it with others who might benefit. And most importantly, put these principles into practice in your daily life. The true test of knowledge is not information, but transformation. Until next time, remember that the power to shape your reality has always been within you. It's time to claim it.